We're here. It's Old Skool Movements. My name's Darren.
I'm Chris.
My name's Ben.
Yes, we got a fourth member today on the Old Skool Movements because today's episode is about the 80s. You know it's about the 80s. We always talk about the 80s and that's the main decade we like.
It's number 10 as well.
It's a 10th episode.
Yeah, 10th episode, man.
So
it's a big one.
We got to 10, guys, man. 10. Give ourselves a round of applause. We reached
extra horns for that
10 episodes. That's great.
That's a decade.
Still going.
Yeah, and that's fitting that we're talking about a decade.
Yeah.
We've still got lots more to talk about.
Yeah, but this episode is about the 80s and 80s pop music. And wasn't that a grand time?
It was decadent decade, wasn't it?
Yeah, just so much going on. That time, man. You know.
Yeah.
You had, but the question I want to ask is, Chris, when was the first song you heard on the radio?
First recollections of music I heard was late 70s. I think one for me was probably Bee Gees, Night Fever, Commodores, Three Times a Lady.
Okay, yeah.
Blondie, Hanging on the Telephone.
Yeah.
It was them. They were the early days of what I can remember, first sort of pop music or popular music that I heard.
Yeah. So were they the tunes that you were like, out of those three, which one really captured you? Like, I want to hear more of that.
I think Blondie at the time.
Not the Bee Gees.
Bee Gees were good too. But I think at the time, with Blondie, especially what with Rapture.
Yeah.
Which we'll probably talk about a bit more later, but.
Yeah.
I think Madness as well. I can remember Madness from them days. Like One Step Beyond, Our House. They were early recollections for first bit of music that I heard.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I love the two-tone movement, like all the ska and the Rude Boys.
Specials and
Yeah, it was. It started with Gangsters, didn't it?
Yeah.
That was the first sort of outbreak, like that actually turned the dance floors in a different way.
You had the Specials.
Yeah.
Selector and
there was a couple going around at that time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was like a big explosion. There was enough like in the popular charts. You had this like ska explosion for a time. But Madness
was the forefront of it. I think
because they managed to make ska more commercial.
Yeah, they took it to a much more commercial level.
With tunes like baggy trousers,
Our House.
Baggy trousers.
What was your early memories in?
My early memories, I remember hearing on the radio. You remember a tune called Zoom by Fat Larry.
Commodore.
Fat Larry Band.
You changed the day away.
When I heard that, I thought it's magical. I thought like magical dust
Sunday
was falling on me.
afternoon.
It was like the
Sunday
sun
afternoon
was
shit.
shining. It was bright. It was magical. And I thought, wow, this is music. And
But then there was not much more from Fat Larry's band.
No, there
was
wasn't.
That's the only tune I know of.
And they all repeatedly.
You might have heard something else, but it just didn't really click with you. It
connect like
didn't.
that one did.
Yeah.
And then I started to hear some more Stevie Wonder songs on the radio, and I just thought, this is music. I'm hearing different instruments.
Yeah.
What was the single you bought, man?
First thing, I remember it clearly, man. It was a Def Jam 7-inch, LL Cool J, Rock the Bells. B-side El Shabazz. I remember it. I didn't even have a record player. I just saw it in the shop.
So what year was that then when you bought that record?
85.
It was 85.
85. First record I bought.
And how old were you when you bought that record?
I would have been 10, 11.
Rock the
10,
Bells,
11. Didn't even have a record player, but I kept it for years until I finally got around to getting a record player, and I remember, that little 7-inch. Still got it somewhere.
So how come you got to love that tune? Like what kind of were you going?
Pirate radio. It was that was our early way of listening to hip hop.
Yeah.
That was the early days of hip hop. But that's what we're going to sort of talk about, how popular music and pop music was what we had at the start.
Not until around 1985, chart-wise, did hip hop really come in with like Dougie Fresh, Break Machine, and stuff like that. So in 1987, but there was one particular band that blew up to the dizzy heights, came straight back down to earth. And we introduced Ben earlier on, but it's Ben from Curious to Kill the Cat.
That's right, the cat out of curiosity.
Yeah.
In the studio.
Hey.
Good to have you in.
So
proving that contrary to popular belief, cats have more than
9 lives.
9 lives maybe at least, but
So how you been, man?
Yeah, I've been all right, man. Yeah, I've been live.
Yeah. So like, the Old Skool Movements, it's all about the 80s vibes and what happened in the 80s and the music of the 80s. So when exactly did the band start? When did you actually form?
Well, we met around 1984. We used to go to the same clubs and stuff around, London, Café de Paris, the Wag Club, and Crazy Larry's, and like just all the sort of cool dives around town. And we had some like mutual friends, and one day I just joined them for a little jam in the studio, and we just started enjoying ourselves with it. So it grew from there, from writing songs to performing them, and then like creating a buzz and everything. So we used to go and record at this place called RMS down in Crystal Palace, and these two hippie guys were the engineer and the tape op. It was such a sweet sound we used to get at the studio, because it was kind of like little greenhouse, and it was all like in a quiet sort of garden and stuff.
Yeah.
Nice studio, good sound and stuff. And we used to just enjoy writing and recording and getting into it just naturally.
So what was the first single?
It's called Misfit. Oh no, it wasn't. Oh, well, it was, yeah. Well, it's complicated. We released one sort of like tester in like late '86, and it was just a bit of like dipping your toe in the water.
Yeah, testing it out.
Yeah.
That was
And
down,
then
down to
in
Earth?
like,
Was that down to
well, Down to Earth, we released it in like October '86, and then October, November passed, December. December's like the month when it's just chocker with entries. Everybody was trying to get Christmas.
And stuff.
It's just inundated with like, you can imagine the radio producer who has to decide on what a dozen tunes that they're gonna rotate all day long.
Yeah.
And they have to like take a risk on putting whatever tunes in. So it's like a stock market sort of like madness, but So our tunes still started climbing through the chart through those 3 months, and then January came, and it was still climbing all through that Christmas. Everything just like slowly going boom, 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 boom. And then February came, and then boom, and that was like number 3, but it stayed number 3, because number 1 and number 2 was When a Man Loves a Woman and Stand By Me.
Okay.
The re-release, Benny King, and so.
So this was
because of the
Yeah.
adverts of Nick Kamen.
Yeah.
Remember Nick Kamen?
Yeah.
Nick Kamen took off his jeans in the laundrette,
Levi?
Okay.
and like
Levi.
everyone went mad,
Yeah.
right? And so then you got some crazy, mad, brilliant music in the background.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's staying number 1, number 2, and
A song
also
from an
Atlantic
advert.
Records
Yeah.
are a big major firm, you know what I'm saying, and they like own those records, right?
We milked that advert.
So when we were in America
right.
one time, like this guy from the record company, the head of the company, came over and he gave us the whole history of like the record company, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, he gave and to say sorry for keeping us out of number 1.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was kind of vindicated that we would have been number 1. But you know what? It's not about being number 1. It just like was wicked because we
Like
then were
getting
on
your
top
music
of the
out there.
pops, and like we were just all over the place.
Still hear
really.
it, still hear it today.
So where exactly did the name come from?
Well, funnily enough, like I wasn't really a big computer buff or whatever in those days. We used to have there was like an Atari little computer, and someone was playing a game of this game Dungeons and Dragons, but it was literally like all just typed out, because
Okay. Yeah.
I mean barely little sort of like little animations, but but still, like I was playing the game. I sort of came in at some, I just was playing someone else's game, whatever. Anyway, so I got to one point and it just said, you come to a cave or something like that. I said, what's in the cave? And it said, curiosity killed the cat. And I thought that's a bit cheeky, but I always like those proverbs. So curiosity killed the cat. I thought, yeah, that sounds kind of cheeky in a way,
So when you went back to the band and said, I've got the name, Curious Killed the Cat, how did they react?
Well, no, it wasn't so kind of like straightforward as that, because we were toying with names like all the time and then dropping them. I can't even think of any of them now.
Yeah.
But they're all pretty rubbish, and especially when you've got 4 people who all like completely different. So like when we had a cassette that had Curiosity Killed the Cat written on it, and our manager was like going around taking it to people to play, and all he could say, what they call Curiosity Killed the Cat, is kind of like mind your own business,
Yeah.
In kind of way, and say, are you serious?
Yeah.
So like our manager really decided, to be honest, that would be the name, because I wouldn't have really chosen it as the name as such, but because it was the name of the only tune that we had recorded at that time.
Right.
It was the first tune that we recorded, so.
So
from that.
going back to the track Misfits, the video was directed by
Misfit.
Andy Warhol.
Misfit, yeah.
How did that come about, the collaboration with Andy Warhol?
Pure, do you know what? Pure luck. Pure, maybe fate. Because when I grew up, it was a lot of years ago, and Andy Warhol, had, like when he used to have posters on your wall.
Yeah.
One of them was like a whole stack of Brillo pads or whatever, and like, or Campbell's soups,
The pop art
stuff, and
today.
and also of course the chic side of his reputation. It's very cool to be associated, but like, so when I've grown up and be with the band, suddenly we hear that Andy Warhol's coming to London, the first time in like 20 years. So we decided to ask our press department, do you reckon you can get some tickets to go to this, like, quite unique occasion?
Yeah.
So we kind of crash into there, all like wearing jeans and all like roughed up and everything, and everyone's in line to get him to sign the books. And when it comes to us, we sort of we're all chatting with him, and we come behind doing photographs and stuff, and then so he invites us to a big banquet that evening at Cafe Royale, and there's like 500 people in this like big banquet hall, all the tables like thing, and all art buyers, mad eccentric people and stuff. Not like crazy, but
Yeah, it's an eclectic band.
yeah. So we're eating dinner with but we're still in our jeans, because obviously we're and it's all pretty cool really, and so then he wants to hear how we sound like. So our manager sends over like the tape in the morning, and brings it over in the morning, and then when he hears it, he's like, yeah, it's kind of cool. I'd like to do a video for that. So he asks our record company, can I do a video for this tune?
Yeah.
Our record company at the time actually weren't going to make a video for us. I can't remember there was something to do with the finances with the television companies and commissions and all this. I don't know. Anyway, that was a rumor. But then suddenly they changed their minds when Andy Warhol got involved. So they sort of gave, I think, I don't know exact figures, but I know at that time it was kind of average to have about 35 grand to make a video in sort of pretty much whatever situation. That was like kind of good amount.
Yeah.
And apparently that amount that was offered to fly us all over to New York, stay there for a week, make the video with Andy Warhol at his factory, And
was that just a day shoot? half a day?
No, it was like a couple of days, few days. Yeah, it was just like going up Broadway and not like in all the sort of where people were. We just like in the back streets but every now and again you get some like really like mad cool person walking up and they say, "Hi Andy," I was like, "Oh hi," and all this stuff, and they have to stop shooting for a minute because the sound man that we had on the video was Andy Warhol. He was carrying the tape recorder that made the sound of what we had to mime to. So he's like walking along holding the tape recorder, and then like, and then we're just going various places here and there, and then we go to like some mad restaurant.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. So then we came back and tried to put our feet on the ground.
After that,
yeah. Oh, that must have been amazing, right?
Yeah, I can't really.
Should have took some of your prints to get him to sign them while you were there.
Say again?
Should have took some of your prints that you had of the Brillo pads and whatnot, get him to sign them.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
Wow. So you had Misfits, you had Down to Earth. Because Down to Earth is the tune that I remember hearing as a kid, the first introduction to Curious Kill the Cat. And I was like, this is big. This doesn't sound like anything else that I'm listening to at the moment. It's got its own identity.
Right.
It's got a funk to it, but it's still pop. Do you know what I mean? It's like I can dig this. Do you know what I mean? And then Misfits as well. I liked,
Okay.
and then you had more singles. I was like, this band's doing something.
Right, yeah.
And the frontman was Beret on doing his funky moves. He's proper feeling the tune. You know what I mean? It's like if you're feeling the tune, we're gonna feel the tune too.
Okay, yeah.
You're showing the audience.
Infectious.
Yeah, this is funky.
Yeah. Nice.
And coming out of the UK as well, it's like, yeah, man, like it's a funky pop band coming out of the UK. Would you consider yourself pop band?
Well, it wasn't like, even though it even seems like a rude word now, it was a really rude word then. Do you know what I mean? Like calling yourself a pop band is like that's like a nasty insult sort of thing. But the truth is, pop is popular. And if it's popular, then it doesn't necessarily mean it's commercial. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
But something that's popular can become commercial, but something that's commercial can't like be funky.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because I see it like as you were saying, like some tunes are made for pop. Like, what's the matter you? Hey, got to know respect. Shut up on your face. Things like that. That's made for pop.
Sure.
That goes in no other locker but the pop locker.
That's supposed to be a feel good. Like,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do all those tunes. That's the pop locker.
There's no other category you can fit them into.
But then you have tunes that just are infectious in all certain zones, and it becomes so popular that Top of the Pops and the national charts can't ignore it, and so they have to play it because the masses are singing their praises about it, and that's how music in general gets popular.
Sure, exactly.
It took ages, again, I was saying, for hip hop to get into the popular charts. You know what I mean? And that's happened with so many other sounds of music. The hills are alive, so many other sounds.
It's taken a long time for the money man to be able to accept the vibes from the street, as it were, the people.
Yeah.
Because it's been an industry for the Radio 1 and all that stuff's been an industry for a long time. In that you have people that deal with the tunes, what they get to hear is it's going to be stuff that's like it within the network. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The only exception for me with the radio industry being like that was John Peel. I remember him back on Radio 1, and he was playing tunes that no one else wanted to push, different genres.
Right.
And he was playing, from someone who loves hip hop and pop music, but he was playing a range of stuff that no one else wanted to play. No other radio stations would play, but for some reason he broke a lot of people through and done a lot for getting me into other genres of music as well.
Well, I think that consists of him having good taste and having such an amazing position where you've got the choice of what you can play.
We had the freeform radio station.
That's a very powerful position to be in, and you know, lucky that he was had good taste.
That's true.
No, definitely,
so out of all your hit singles, what would you say is your favourite, personal favourite?
I think as a single it was Ordinary Day, because it's funky and it's like it's Latin, it's just sort of feel good. It's nice. It's like to me, it's like a nice, neat package on the video. Like when you see the video, like you can see we really had a laugh on it, and you know, like it's really styled wickedly, and it's just feel good. Do you know what I mean? And to me, that's good for serving the television. You know, the MTV generation. Yeah, because you know, when you have a good video with a song, like it can very much increase the popularity of it, especially with like video jukeboxes were coming into pubs and stuff, and you know,
cable, like you said, cable TV was getting big around then. You know, the box channel, that was my sort of way of being able to see music videos. Cause
but I'm talking about even before that.
Before that in the 80s, because it was even hard for a lot of black artists to even get on MTV back in the days. It took a while for Michael Jackson to get Billie Jean on MTV.
God, yeah.
And it got his company at the time to say we're going to pull off all our white artists like Bruce Springsteen that off the channel until you put on Michael Jackson. They had to surrender, and that's the king of pop. Can you imagine?
Once they done it,
but that's the thing. In the 80s, there wasn't a lot. It wasn't accessible to see music videos like how you can just got tons of music channels and see music videos on your phone or whatever. Now you had to seek stuff. So it's either watch a little 30 seconds on Tour de Pops, or see an advert or something, or your friend might have MTV or something. But so you know, being a band them times, and there wasn't much accessible videos. It was more about touring for people to see you, right? So what was your favourite tour, man? Was the crowds in another country better than another country? What was your best experience while touring?
Well, you know what, London's always very cool. Like Spain or something, it's like crazy. Italy, you know, Japan.
I must have.
You know, it's always really good for the performances and entertaining if you get your spirits lifted.
Yeah.
But in other countries as well, the sound was more crisp. Like it was all I mean, or it's very often bad in England.
See, were you approached when to use the hey, how you doing, like for De La Soul, and more recently I think it was Little Mix used it as well.
Yeah, and actually there was a guy called Jaheim who also like gave us credits from his royalties, and Little Mix have it by default because they did a tribute to the De La Soul version, which was an edit of my version. So where I've got like, you know, like four lines, whatever, they've clipped it down to 2. So then Little Mix never knew my version because it was 2-way old. You know what I mean? So they've grown up with that, and you know, sometimes I'm reading these comments on YouTube and stuff, and like people having these arguments about no, they did it first and you this and then it's like, you know, it's crazy, but
they're the wrong generation.
But it's a buzz to know that. I mean, literally one day I was sick of getting back to the answer machine, and on the answer machine it goes, we're here at this club this Thursday night, whatever, and now it's, you know, like Sunday morning, and you got all these mad messages. No one knows if it was the club was last night, and they go, well, you know, they don't know where you are. So I wanted one message that pretty much explained everything.
Yeah.
Like, and sounded a bit fun. So I had this little Casio keyboard,
Oh yeah.
The little white thing with little keys,
Yeah,
and then had a
yeah,
drum
yeah,
machine,
yeah.
like.
I remember.
Hey, how you doing? I'm sorry you couldn't get through, 'cause this is a message being recorded, especially for you. If you leave a name and your number, we'll get right back to you. You can leave a message if you want to, when the beeps are through. Beep.
Easy. Nice. And then there was a hit.
Yeah.
So with our Old Skool Movements, whenever we have a guest in,
Yeah.
we ask them quick fire questions based on our past episodes. You didn't have to listen to the past episode.
No,
It's
no,
just,
okay.
Just quick fire. I'm just going to say a word and then tell us what your favourite is. Okay, so
Okay.
The first episode was about cartoons. So, what was your favourite cartoon from back in the day?
Like in the 80s.
Yeah, 80s, 90s. Yeah, mainly 80s.
I mean, I still love the Pink Panther.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
you like that?
Yeah, and then, you know, more silly ones like Top Cat and that. but yeah, I mean,
Pink
I'm
Panther.
quite a cartoon head really.
So what about your favourite crisps?
Chris, I used to like Salt and Shake.
Smith Short Shake.
Yeah, you used to get the little blue bag, and it looked really ominous. So you just you open the bag and there's just crisps, and then you get this little blue bag, and it's like you feel like you're winning.
Yeah.
It's something extra.
And it's all covered. It's all like it all looks dark because it's like dark. It's a dark blue bag, and you rip it open. There's salt in there. You shake it over the thing, and then you close the top, and you go
Give him a shake of that.
salt and shake, and then
Salt
and shake,
Classic
then came out the shake and vac, and everyone got really confused.
Bring the freshness back, mate. So what's your favourite movie sequel, man?
Sequel.
Movie sequel.
That's a hard one.
There's classic trilogies from the 80s.
Well, yeah, no, Fame.
That's not a sequel.
No, I haven't really got any sequels. I mean, I don't really.
No?
No.
Okay, what's your favourite retro sweet? Sweet that you love, Blind Ben?
Wagon Wheels.
They shrunk.
Yeah. Have they
They're
shrunk?
so
Have they
shrunk.
shrunk? Or it
So
has got
shrunk.
bigger?
It's so shrunk. What about your favourite old game? Can be a board game, an old computer game. You mentioned computers earlier.
Mousetrap game.
Mousetrap was a good one.
Yeah.
The ages to set up.
Yeah.
It didn't take long for it
Never
all
played
to.
Mousetrap.
It was good, man. Yeah. I only remember the little cage that shook down over the mouse at the
I
end.
remember seeing the cage. That's all I remember.
That's the only bit I can remember. And if you broke a bit of it, you were stuffed.
Yeah.
The game was done for it.
Done,
If you
innit?
broke
You
a
needed
bit. If
every
you trod on
part.
it and broke it, yeah.
Wow. Favourite 80s action TV show?
18.
18's always going to be up there.
80s, yeah.
One of the best.
Favourite food from your childhood?
Shepherd's pie.
Like favourite kids TV show.
I used to like the Banana Splits. It has
Yeah.
so many good cartoons within it.
Exactly.
Did, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You watched it for other bits that were on
And
it.
you know, and then like the Jackson 5 and Harlem Globetrotters. You know.
Yeah, the cartoons. Yeah.
And then Marine Boy. You know that. Yeah, and
Was that on the Banana
it
Split?
was like one of the first manga animations.
Wow.
He's like that, you know, but you know he's got these big wide eyes, and so you can tell that it's a Japanese
It's
It does ring a bell
drawing.
vaguely,
Yeah.
actually.
Check that out. Favourite toy?
Well, I used to like little I had these little knights like and crusaders and horses, and I used to me and my brother used to put caps, lay the caps down and then light it from one end and just pew, pew, pew.
Adding effects to it. Adding
Wicked.
adding
Up
effects to the
level.
scenery, yeah.
Yeah. Love that. And
That takes us right up to this episode.
so yeah.
So, question 10.
Your favourite band of the 80s?
It was Kid Creole and the Coconuts,
Ah.
but it was like, you know, because to me it was the perfect it was just everything. It had every sort of thing element in it. I mean, it's really cool. It's like there's this album, Fresh Fruit in Foreign Places, and there's a couple of singles that didn't really do much, like Latin music. No, wait, I'm so confused. This Latin music's got me so bemused. Yeah.
What's the name of the album?
It was called Fresh Fruit in Foreign Places, but it had some, because Koti Mundi was Kikreol's like sidekick, and so there was so he used to do some singing and some sort of rapping as well, and it's just a really kind of interesting album. And then when they went commercial, I must say that I still really like them. And I went to see them play once, and the first track was Stool Pigeon. That's when that album, and they start with the drums. Oh man, it's the first. It's like when you're just figuring out like what each instrument is playing on the record. It's just really incredible.
So, talking about gigging and performing live, what was the whole Top of the Pops experience like? Or miming thing? You guys miming?
Yeah, what used to happen was when we started doing it was that you weren't allowed to play your normal track because there's usually more musicians than there's going to be there. So you have to have people that are representing the instruments. So then you have to re-record it like 5 a.m, and then like with a stripped down sort of version, and then you like mime to that. So it's kind of fun because you're not miming exactly to the record.
So were you sort of left to do your own thing, or was it choreographed, or were you?
Well, I mean,
But you already had your sort of set thing that whenever we perform, we're gonna do.
Oh, my performances, you mean?
For the Top of the Pop.
I never knew what I was gonna do. No.
No, it was all off.
Yeah, and usually when you do rehearsals for the cameras, they record them, like the kind of dress rehearsal and the other rehearsals, so that they got cutaways if they need them later. And I would always do something different, and we always do something different. So I guess they just had to keep one camera angle or something.
You've helped us relive the 80s,
one of the best decades for music, man.
Yeah, man.
Voted by us
so
anyway.
much pop music.
Well,
it
was such a wide variety from the beginning to the end.
Yeah.
Literally went from punk to, house. So.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Electro,
all the stuff in
level.
between was, it's individual as they come. Everyone was very like. Well, some people competitive, but some just really inventive, and they were allowed
from
to do
the
whatever
birth
they
of the
wanted
synthesizer,
to do.
man.
Yeah.
Once that synthesizer come out,
Because like even with punks were aiming to look different from anyone else, especially even each other.
Yeah.
But as it turned out, then people got wind of like what someone else was doing, so it was cool, and then they'll copy that, and so everything just gets diluted. But like. The fact is that house, was the other end of the decade, and it's when everyone was brought back together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was.
It's like it was the same as when you're at a reggae dance, a shaka or something like that, when everyone just feels really togetherness,
feels good, man.
and then
Exactly.
all of a sudden it didn't matter how good you were at dancing. Really, you just put your arms in the air
everyone fitted in.
Exactly.
Wicked.
Yeah, man. But you were a good dancer, man. I bet you still are too.
I mean, I like my music, and I just get lost in it. I mean,
That's the way.
if you think about what you do too hard, then I don't know.
Get lost in it.
Yeah.
It's like the early Jamiroquai, or Jamiroquai is like the later.
Yeah.
That's what I look at it.
Has that ever been said to you?
It has been suggested a couple of times, but I mean, the way I see it is that he wasn't living in a treehouse up until when I came out, and then sort of go, I'm gonna be like this guy. He was influenced by the same sort of like decades of music, the funk and rhythm and blues and stuff like that, and so maybe some similar singers, and so like I mean I don't forget like I was kind of breaking traditions a bit, put my hat on backwards and like tuck my suit jacket in the back and,
That's sort of
and
become a
roll my
little bit of
jeans
a
up
trademark.
and like, people kind of turn their noses up a bit because I would at that time, there was quite a divide. I kind of feel as though I opened the doors for someone like Jamiroquai to wear
I
some
think so too.
some cool crazy hats and move his body in a way that people weren't used to,
Being expressive.
and
Yeah, exactly, expressing it.
I surely would have been sort of, if I'd have been out there at the time when he was out, like we would have been battling probably a bit because I hadn't even begun to sort of show my groove like from with the band. It was it was a collaboration, democracy. So
it certainly works, man. It certainly worked visually. You had the good music, the good voice, and then the dance moves. It was, it was the package. The name was great. It was. I say it was something that you didn't normally see come out of the UK.
Right.
With the likes of Andy Warhol, like him to direct, that's a huge compliment.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? From a group of guys that love their funk and just want to make music, and then you get number one album, hit singles and tunes that all of us in this room remember.
Right.
Distinctly remember.
Yeah, I get comments all the time on like on YouTube, like you really changed my life, whatever.
It's a soundtrack to some people's
lives.
lives.
Yeah.
So that's a big up in itself. I've got a big up again.
Thanks for coming in again, man. Thanks for coming.
You know what I mean? That's amazing, man. That's amazing. And that's what the 80s were about. Feel good music, man. And you definitely 100% contributed to that movement for me.
I'm
brilliant
happy.
Times. And it's just an honour to have you in the studio being our guest, man.
My absolute pleasure. I'm honoured,
Wicked, man, wicked. So, guys, leaving notes.
Just thanks all you lot out there for listening. Remember, if you like what you hear, remember to share, subscribe. Just tell your friends, man. Spread it about. Let everyone know.
Spread it about.
We're gonna go and we're gonna fade out with this beat in the background, man. So, peace. We out.
Bye.